If there's one style of music that lets listeners feel another person's pain, it's grunge. And this isn't just any grunge song. This is Layne's raw confession of isolation, of addiction, and the heavy price of fame. I know this song well. I've even taught it in lessons, but I don't allow myself to listen to it fully very often. This one always hits way too hard. This is such a beautiful and interesting version. What is immediately obvious visually is that he is someone who is really struggling at this point in time, and I think that's part of what hits so hard. You can see it in his energy, the way he holds himself. Going into vocal technique, he has an extraordinary way of producing vowels. I want to listen to some of those moments from that point of view because it's so unusual and no one sings quite like him. A lot of his vowels, instead of opening up, it closes down. And he kind of moves his jaw just a touch forward to produce that sound. It's not something that I would suggest for everyone. Sometimes it adds too much tension into the jaw, but all these things do contribute to his really, really unique sound. Does the imperfections in his voice make his voice more powerful? What do you think? But we'll talk about that in a moment. Face the path of time, and yet I fight this battle all alone. That line, the lyric. To cry to, no place to go home. You know what I mean about completely shutting down? The only thing that is open, and it's such a musical metaphor, is and yet I cry. He allows this big open vowel, but everything else, he just shuts it down. Home. He completely just closes his mouth and muffles it, and it feels so fragile. Is one of those singers that lives in the imperfections of his voice, yet also has this extraordinary, haunting, ethereal, otherworldly quality at the same time. He's so human, yet almost an angel at the same time. Even on that, that's so crazy. Those oohs are amazing. They're so dead on pitch, and he's closing his mouth, and it's extraordinary knowing what's going on in his life at this point. He's almost singing it through his teeth. When I make that sound, I can feel my teeth vibrating because it's so far forward here. It's like he's containing everything, yet there's this resignation in his posture. think that music helps us process emotions, or do you think it amplifies them? For me here, it feels like he has written a song for us to process what was to come. His intense honesty just draws us straight into it. And it's so sad about how he feels the world relates to that. It's performance, right? So like soothing at the same time. It's like they're trying to soothe and feel. You know, when I teach this song, it is really hard technically. But it's not just that, it's the emotional connection, and not everyone gets that emotional connection. His vulnerability is what left many of us in awe, but he's also left us a reminder that there is always a way forward. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe you won't agree with me, but he's left us with a tool to process. I think maybe that was his last gift.
Rawr.